Okay, we should be live.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Good afternoon. We call to order the school committee meeting of June 28th. Sorry, Thursday, June 28th. We'll all rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
United States of America, and to the republic
and
for
to
which
the
it
republic
stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
of the
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Bronson Rizzo,
Here.
Mr. Ferranti, Mr. Kingston,
Here,
Mrs. Milbury Ellis,
present,
Ms. Monterosso,
Present.
Ms. Ty, Acting Mayor Keefe.
Here. And so we have, I believe, just 2 items on the agenda. Is correct?
It's actually 3 items. The first is contracts for Dr. Galucci and Dr. Garcia, and we can ask Dr. Galucci to leave if you feel that's appropriate. He was the one assistant superintendent available today where Dr. Mokaba is on leave and Dr. Garcia is at a conference. I sent you copies of those contracts already. They are the same as each other and they echo the contract that we agreed to for Dr. Mokaba at her last signing 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there were any questions or,
I make a motion to accept
I'll second,
for Richard,
Second.
for Dr. Galucci, the contract. And this
Second.
first and
We have
second,
a
so
second.
anyone have discussion?
nope,
If I have something, I'll just say it to Dr. Galucci myself. Nope, we're glad to have you on board
Thank you.
thank you.
and you've done an awesome job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
that doesn't need a
You've always
roll
been
call,
attentive to
correct?
me. I appreciate it.
It does only because we have to vote on his and we're on Zoom.
That's right. Okay, so I'll do the roll call so that Dr. Galucci is not conflicted. And I will start with Mrs. Rizzo,
Yes,
Ms. Milbury Ellis,
yes,
Ms. Monterosso,
Yes.
Mr. Kingston,
Yes,
and Acting Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
thank you, Richie.
So I know Dr. Garcia's contract doesn't need a vote of the committee because he's not in charge of special education. But just an acknowledgement of support for that contract would be helpful. Stacy, you're muted. I know she's, oh, sorry.
a motion to support Dr. Garcia's new contract for the next 5 years.
Second.
And again, I'll do the roll call. And I'm just going by the parents that you are on my screens and you all just shifted. So Ms. Milbury Ellis,
yes,
Ms. Monterosso,
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo,
Yes,
Mr. Kingston,
Yes,
and Acting Mayor Keefe.
Yes.
Great. Okay, the second item is the initial handbook presentation. So I'm bringing up Jamie Flynn, who has been instrumental in that work. I know that John and Aisha have been too. I know that Ms. Ty did sit in on a couple of the meetings, but I don't believe that she made it to all of them. So I just want to acknowledge all of those committee members who helped work on this project. And we were trying to figure out the best way to go about this, but because the document is so new, we wanted to give the committee more time to look it over and kind of click through it and look at the features. And the plan from the committee is that hopefully the school committee will adopt this as a living document at their August meeting. And we're going to continue to take feedback from parents and other users through the first half of the year to make sure that it's user friendly. There are some things that we look at it right now. It is very much still a work in progress. There are some things that even Jamie and I were looking at this morning that were like, oh God, that's dreadful. It's so hard to read. And, we looked at our electronic device policy, which is from 1876. So that definitely needs to be updated, but that's going to take a little bit more work. And we want to get a committee that includes some middle school and high school students to look more carefully at that. And of course, including Mr. Ferrara in that, who really supervises all of our electronic stuff, and figuring out how to differentiate between school issued devices and personal devices. Right now, the language says things like, you cannot have any electronic devices in the classroom. Clearly, that's not true. So anyway, Jamie, I'll give it
Diane, our
to you.
policies say different, though. We do have electronic devices versus cell phones, iPads, personal devices.
Yes,
And policy committee, I'll be asking them for a date next week to meet on that, because we would like to update it.
okay. And can I ask that you, so one of the things that Jamie was going to do in the next week or so is a crosswalk between what it says and the school committee policy book that's on the website,
Right.
and identify where there are discrepancies. So maybe she could work with you on that, Stacy, and the policy subcommittee.
Yes, and when I have a date, I'll let Jamie and Dr. Garcia and even Dr. Galucci know. That way, if they want to jump in, and more than likely it might be Zoom because it is the summer months. So I know people are busy. So if any of them want to jump in, that'd be great.
Can you try to get, Robin, can you try to get the login information to Michael Ferranti? Great. Sorry, I got a little distracted there.
No problem.
You might be
But
better
Jamie,
calling in like I did, possibly.
well, that's what I think he's trying to do right now. So Jamie, do you want to share? And then, so this is in a Google Doc kind of thing. And after Jamie gives a brief overview, she'll send the link to all of the committee members for them to start looking at it. And Jamie, you can share a little bit more about who's already given feedback and input.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacey. I would love to be able to help with that next steps on that area of the handbook. So the task force that worked together for over 6 months was led by Dr. Garcia. Linda Barber was also a very instrumental member to that team, as well as truly people across the entire district. Specifically from your committee were Aisha, John, and Carol Ty, as Diane had already mentioned. And they really, truly, I mean, this was significant work over a 6-month period of really going shoulder to shoulder and trying to develop a handbook that is more student and caregiver friendly, more culturally relevant, free of bias, and looks through a restorative justice lens. So I thank everyone for all the work that they've done on this. Once the initial core group finished working, then it actually has already gone to the administrative team for comments and feedback. The version that you're going to see has already addressed any of the comments and feedback that we've received thus far. It's still a commentable document, so feel free to add additional comments that you want addressed, and then we can continue to reflect and refine and make it even better. We also have already met with the attorney to look at what was missing or not missing and what needed to be addressed in those lenses as well. And so you're going to find what was 4 handbooks and hundreds of pages of text really narrowed down into 50 pages of a handbook / guidebook plus an appendix. And so we feel that this really, the team really feels that this work has significantly much more student and parent caregiver friendly than our previous multiple documents were. So I'm going to share my screen and just show you a little taste and explain kind of how it works.
And just while Jamie pulls that up, Aisha, did you have something? Did you put your hand up? Or were you waving?
It was
to me?
actually, no, I was just saying it was actually 5 handbooks
Okay, yeah,
that
right,
we were condensing.
okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Kelly, I don't have share screening privileges.
What? Who's organizing this thing? Let me just see. here.
Obviously not you.
I know, I'm terrible. I said that to. How do I, participants, oh, maybe, I know, hold on. Oh my goodness.
Jamie, I just want to say, I heard it resembles the Boston one, which I downloaded 2 years ago when they finished it, and I really enjoyed it. I do read other things, like I have a life, but when they finished that one, I was curious about it. So I'm excited that something was finally being done to our handbooks.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
the
we were
one
trying
that
to,
it
we were
most
trying to model
closely
ours on this,
resembles.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were trying to model ours on this, because this is very good, I thought.
Excellent.
Yeah, the organizational, the way it was organized,
Mhm.
you know, the
It was just
ours
very
were very
user-friendly, very easy
duplicative.
to read.
I don't know why this is not giving me the option to let you share. Oh, wait a minute, let me try this. I think I have it. I'm gonna make you a co-host, Jamie. That's the closest thing I can think of.
Sounds good.
All right, try sharing now.
I can share.
All right.
While we're waiting, Ms. Monteroso, are you able to, I saw that Q&A. Are you good now?
Yes, I'm
Oh.
on here. Thank you, Mayor.
So Kelly Williams, the Director of Fine Arts, has worked diligently getting us some great kid artwork. We hope to add additional, but here's what the cover at this time looks like. And we do hope to sprinkle additional student artwork throughout the book. But this is the front cover, which just to start is much more enticing than our traditional cover.
I mean, can you enlarge that?
Yes. I wanted you to see it in a whole, but now
Oh,
I'll
I
make
see. Okay.
see.
Okay, much better.
So rather than calling it a handbook from the outset, calling it a guide, because we really want to guide parents through the procedures and policies throughout the district. You'll notice throughout the book, parents, caregivers is listed. We had a long conversation about what was the most inclusive phrase so that everyone felt welcome and felt part of their students' experience. This is just a placeholder. So there are a few places where I highlighted in yellow. Those are just notes for me to remember to go back in, so you can just ignore those notes. The table of contents is fully interactive, so you can click on any of these, click on the word bookmark, and it will jump to that section of the handbook. When you're looking through the handbook, if you want to get back to this table of contents page, just click on the little house. Right now, it's in a Google Doc, so it's a little clunky the way that it functions. But if you go to the house, click on it, you might have to double click to get the footer to open. That won't be a problem when we get to the final version, but right now you're experiencing some of the just setup challenges. Throughout the entire handbook, you will see the majority of the handbook is 2-column, and you will also see hyperlinks throughout to external resources as well as internal resources. So for example, when something refers to the bias and discrimination harassment reporting forms, you can actually hyperlink right to it, or you could hyperlink to the appendices and get to that portion of the handbook. Those are the big key features that have been done. The language and the text within it have really been wordsmithed so that The first 50 pages really kind of summarizes what you need to know about those documents further in the appendix, that you may or may never need to get to that level of detail, but you will have a general information in those first 50 pages. I don't know if Aisha or John want to add some additional things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
what
so
we were
the-
trying to do is everything's
go ahead,
like,
John.
everything's like in an appendix. So you don't, if you don't, your child doesn't bring a gun to school, you don't have to, read through that to get somewhere else. So, just try to make it more, more like the Boston model, which was much easier to read and had a much better format, and it was, a little more user friendly than the Insomnia book that we used to give out.
Yeah, and just echoing that the idea was to make sure that this included the relevant laws and information that parents would need, but also to protect us as well as a district, because these documents, as we all know, can be used as contracts if they ever needed to be. This is just where I'm coming from in my thinking. So we have it set up in a way that we give all of the information that they need. The appendices bring you to the Mass General laws, the relevant Mass General laws, the Title 8, the Title 9 laws, and all of that stuff and it's verbatim, so all of the information is here, but it's not clunky and it's not congested. And, the old one was just such a mess to navigate through. This is just so much more user-friendly. And I feel while it's through the restorative justice lens, there's a reasonableness through the language that I think will relate to all people, that everyone will understand it. It doesn't seem like it's a foreign type document, if you will. So we'll see. My only negative, I would say, is that we didn't get, we were broken up into groups. And so when it came time to kind of review each other's work, we were significantly limited with time. So for instance, I was in my group and we did our work, but I think we had Jamie, one meeting that we really got to kind of look at everyone else's work, and we were limited to like 10 minutes per section. So I think it's great that it's going through these additional phases, because everyone's going to see something that maybe was missed, you know what I mean? So that's about it, but it was a lot of work and good work, I think.
Agreed.
So, Jamie, do you want me you had sent me a link earlier. Is that the right link for me to give to the school committee so that they can start looking more deeply at it? Or is there an updated link?
It should be, but let me send it to you so you guarantee you have the right link that you send out.
Okay. Great idea. And
Yeah.
Acting Mayor, I see Jackie has her hand up.
Okay, I just had so we can give feedback directly on this draft. I want to make sure we don't on another one. And then when it's sent to us, could we have like a deadline by when you would like any thoughts from school committee members to make sure we give that? And then my last question was, we're talking about the electronic policy that's separate, but also coming in August.
Correct. So, I mean, we are hoping that the school committee will vote on this at the August meeting, which August 15th is the date. So anything new, we're hoping to get teams together and be able to work on between now and like August 1st, so that then you would have the 2 weeks between then and August 15th to read any new things. We're hoping that electronic policy is going to be one of them.
Okay.
But if we can't get students to come in because it's summertime, we might not get to that before the 18th, but we're hoping there'll be a vote to accept it. And then if the school committee accepts it on August 18th with the understanding that it's a working document, then we can collect more feedback from students and parents throughout the fall when we think they'll be more accessible to us.
Thank you.
So that's kind of the plan. So I would say on this initial version that we're giving to you now, Jamie, what do you think? Like August 1st?
That should work. But as you go about, if you only get through the first 10, 15 pages and you give comment next week, that's great. And just keep rolling with it because we'll continue to kind of address the comments as they come in. And yes, you have
Thank you.
access to edit, to comment on the document directly.
Stacy has her hand up, acting mayor.
Thank you. I was getting tired. So just additional information, this handbook will first go to the policy committee, subcommittee, and we will look through it. We will have a, of course, it will be a public meeting, and then we will make any recommendations at our August meeting to accept the handbook as given to us.
That's right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I just,
When is the right time, Stacy, to schedule that subcommittee meeting?
I mean, if she can do it August 1st, I'd like to get it done right then.
Does that work for you, Jamie? That's a Tuesday.
Yes.
Hold on, let me see. Do I have a Shore Collaborative? Oh, no, I don't. It's summertime. Okay, that works.
I was going to say, oh, they started summer ones. Ooh, I'm glad I'm out.
Oh, thank goodness. 2-month break.
I mean, Jamie, you can give us more of an idea within 2 weeks, but if you start sending it to us, at least we have an idea of what's already in there. So we can already start going through it. And that way we're not waiting until the last minute to make decisions or anything. So as soon as we can at least get the draft, that helps. And if August 1st works for people, that's great too. But how about if you wait another week or two, Jamie, to make sure on your end if that looks like a goal, that date.
You can actually view it now. Dr. Kelly will send you the link.
Mm-hmm.
It, other than the electronic area, it should be pretty close to where, I mean, there might be some additional pictures added. There may be a few other places that we found tuned, but at this point I could flag those so that you'd already be able to look at the bulk of the document, so that you don't have to wait. I don't want to hold you off for 2 weeks to look
So
at.
it's more wordsmithing that you're going to be doing. That's basically what it's going to be, the cleaning up.
Other than that electronic section.
But you
Okay.
guys have reviewed the other policies as well, and they seem like, as far as you're concerned, okay?
The one thing that Jamie was going to work on in the next week or two was doing an actual crosswalk between
That's right.
what's there and what's in your policy handbook.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any misalignment, she'll highlight that for Stacy in the policy subcommittee
So
too.
maybe we let her do that first, just so we're not duplicating.
Exactly.
work.
Okay,
Yeah.
That will be primarily in the appendix area that I want to review. The first 50 pages don't align because they're
they
more
don't state
summary.
policy in the first 50 pages. It
So
just
you can
refers
look
to
at those.
the-
Sounds like a plan.
All right, any other questions on that?
Nope, I just make a motion to send this over to the policy subcommittee.
Second,
Roll call?
Does that one's just an all in favor, right?
All in favor?
All in favor?
aye.
Aye, so moved.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Bye,
And
Jamie.
Aisha and John.
So I want to note that Mr. Ferranti did join the meeting about 10 minutes ago.
Hi,
And he's
Ellen.
here.
Also note the meeting is June 29th, not the 28th, my original statement.
All right. So the last thing on the agenda before adjournment is about the Revere High School assistant principals. And we're in a bit of a unique position this year because we actually have 2 current assistant principals who are going to be having maternity leaves this year. And we've never been in that situation before. We have had maternity leaves, but typically it was 1 in a year. And we don't usually give coverage for a maternity leave for an administrator. Everybody else just kind of picks up where they left off. But I have some concerns in this particular year with the high school where there's so much newness and so much change we're trying to make there. And the fact that we're gonna have, the first AP will be out from September until around Thanksgiving. And then the other one goes out at the end of December or early January and is out until March. Really the end of March. So it leaves a whole chunk, a good chunk of the school year uncovered, which in this particular year is particularly worrisome with all of the change and the newness coming. And so I know that I should have thought of this sooner. I actually didn't know about the second maternity leave until recently, but what I think that we should do is create an additional assistant principal position for the high school. It would be an acting 1-year position. It would not go into the contract as a new additional position. We would have to fund it through carry forward when you guys vote the carry forward expenditures in October. There will be ample money there. We anticipate there's going to be about $3 million there that we need to decide what we want to do with. But I would propose, with the committee's approval, that we move on filling that position soon, right now, actually, so that we have somebody lined up for September when that first maternity leave starts. And the position would be filled with the understanding that it's a 1-year position.
Ms.
Diane.
Novarellis?
I agree. I agree.
Quick question. Can you just clarify, remember Chris's plan that he outlined for us with having the 4 different schools within the high school?
Yeah,
5, I mean, the 5 different schools
Yeah.
within the high school. How does that play in? Weren't we gonna have an assistant principal for each of those schools
correct.
anyway?
Yes. So this
Excuse me.
substitute.
Excuse me, Diane, I just, before we have discussion, we need a motion in a second. And then we can ask any questions and then it will be voted up or down.
Motion
Okay,
to
you wanna
hire an
give a
additional,
motion?
motion to hire an additional assistant principal to fill in for the maternity leave for a 1-year position.
Did he say it? Did he finish?
Second,
So motion by Mr.
Yep.
Kingston and second by Ms. Monterosso.
Discussion.
Okay. So go ahead, Aisha.
So I'm just trying to see how this plays in. If we're gonna have to hire, we would have to hire another assistant principal anyway, right? So why are we limiting it to the 1 year, or no? Would we not have to if everybody was still here?
If everybody was still here, we have 5 APs right now.
Oh, okay. I was thinking there were 4. Okay.
So we have 2 for the right now, the way it's structured, there's 2 for freshmen, 1 for sophomore, 1 for junior, 1 for senior. So that's 5 total. And those 5 would be redistributed. So this substitute person would come in as acting in the case of that first principal's maternity leave, assistant principal's maternity leave, which we anticipate is going to actually begin right before the school year starts. It might be right after, you know how these things go. But it's going to be right at the very beginning of the year. And so if we could bring somebody on board now, they could do all of that summer planning with the team and kind of get rolling. And then when that AP comes back, anticipated in late November, this substitute AP would start overlapping with the other one who's getting ready to go on maternity leave, and then be able to cover for that through March. And then hopefully that AP comes back. And this person, because it doesn't make sense to do a 9-year contract, no one's going to take that, would be an extra pair of hands, I guess, for the rest of the year, or who knows what could happen if some other AP has an issue and needs to be absent, we would have somebody to cover.
Okay.
Jacqueline.
The only thing I'll add, this has been done in the
Yeah.
past. Pam Keller did it and Amy Chamberlain did it. So it's not something we haven't done before. I
Yeah.
remember them both doing it. So I think it's a great idea and I think they need the help and I totally agree with you. So I have no problem with this at all.
Jacqueline has her hand up.
Ms. Monterosso?
my question is, Dr. Kelly, are there any prospects that could be internally promoted for this role that may have a better understanding of how we're going into the new model and the changes?
We have a very solid candidate that I think would be really appropriate for this. I don't know that I can say any more than that at this time, but we would definitely be looking for somebody who has the right experience and the right mindset to do the work that we're trying to foster the changes at the high school.
Yeah, I think thinking of that internal pipeline that we're doing to retain people and provide leadership, but also we're going to be implementing so many new changes. If we can have someone who's already been working on it, I think it'll help with that buy-in of orienting and informing for the new change.
Great.
Ms. Rizzo?
Oh, my apologies. I was going to lower my hand because Ms. Monterosso had the same wording as I did. I think it really needs to be, especially where the high school is trying so many new things. We need someone that knows the high school, is used to our students, and willing to and able to work with our principal. He's also newer. So I think it's very important to have someone internal.
And I will share with the committee that I have somebody in mind, and I think that this will be a really good fit.
Good.
Great.
We do tend to look internally first anyway, right? At least that seems to be my experience since I've been on this committee, is that that's the first option, is to promote from within. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I would say especially for our assistant principals, where we're trying to build a bench for principalships and directorships, we definitely tend to look internally.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't get candidates, or, you know, and with principal positions, we tend to mix it up a little bit more. Just because it's good to have those outside perspectives. We don't want to develop tunnel vision.
Mhm.
But with APs, I would agree that we tend to look internally more. It's helpful when you have somebody who knows the culture of the district and understands the vision and the mission. It's a much better transition to administration than to bring somebody in who might have been in a district that had a completely different set of values and a very different idea of what good instruction looks like and those things. So we do tend to look internally.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear there's a plan.
Great.
So we can do an all in favor or all opposed or whatever.
All in favor.
Mr. Acting Mayor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And I don't know if Mr. Ferranti realizes he's muted. I don't know if he's trying to respond.
He's hilarious. I see just like the corner of his eyeglass.
That's good enough.
Yeah, there's much to say.
There he is.
It's wonderful. Look, someone's helping him a little bit. An angel.
There you go. There you go.
So is that all the business we have today?
Not a good day.
Let's just get Michael's vote before we close. Did you say yes, Michael?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. And yes, that's all the business we had for today. And I'm sorry, we went a little over 30 minutes.
Okay. And
Thank you.
when is the next scheduled school committee meeting?
September, September, listen to me. July 20th is the next committee of the whole and regular meeting.
July, Thursday?
18th.
18th, sorry,
18th.
July 18th.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
And
Second.
just a quick thank you to everybody for accommodating this meeting, especially with the assistant superintendent contracts. They expire tomorrow. And so we needed to get this done quickly, and I should have thought of it a month ago, but I'll blame myself for that.
You're running shorthanded. You're excused. You're running shorthanded. You're
Thanks.
excused.
Thanks, John. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Everyone, have a good 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.